There he is. 109 yards away, and he looks like an elk. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hunter Call of the Wild. Today, we're sitting on the exact spot that we just got one of the biggest mule deer I've ever seen in Call of the Wild. But what's more important is how we got here. So, let's go back in time and see what happens. Oh, and if you're thinking we're trying to postpone until getting to the action part, well, the truth is, there's really no way of explaining what happened without going back in time to see what happened. Alright, so first we're going to set up a couple of tents up here. We're over by Biggest Mule Deer, and we have 4 tents on us. We're going to some really good locations for some need zones for water buffalo first, and then we're going to go over and find some spots for some mule deer. So we're over by Biggest Mule Deer right now, and just to the left of us over there is where we got that big mythical yesterday. And as I was coming back here, I picked up some heavy tracks. I decided to track it down, and it led us to, well, I'll just show you. Alright, so here we are at our first location. We just set up a tent here, and I'll show you where we're at. Alright, so here we are at the map. We're right on the very north end of the map, pretty much right dead center in the middle of Biggest Mule Deer and Junto al Lago. And we have a tent set up here. We have a water buffalo need zone right here. This is where they actually bed. So what happened is we set up a tent here, and I wanted to go check out, see what was over here. And this is when we found a white mythical. Alright guys, so it's really early in the morning right now, and we just spotted another mythical water buffalo right over on the other side of this water here. There's actually about 6 or 7 water buffalo bedded down. There's a 7 very hard right there, 63 yards out, pretty broadside. But the mythical is kind of like right over here behind this tree. It's going to be really difficult to try and figure out how to get over to him, but alright, we better be careful because the 7 very hard is right there. There's a 6 hard right there, and our mythical is right, no, that's another 6 hard there. Our mythical is right there, 82. So if we can get to 60, I'll be very comfortable with that. So hopefully we can get to 60. I don't really know if we're going to get too much closer, to be perfectly honest. Alright, so we're about as close as we can possibly get on this mythical water buffalo, and we're about 64 yards out, and I think we're going to try for a shot. Well, unfortunately, we realized that the rangefinder is not always dependable, which I kind of knew that since the very beginning of Call of the Wild. The devs really need to fix this. I really hope that they would actually fix the rangefinder to where it gives us one reading. Like the Hunter Classic, it gives you one reading. Whatever it says, that's what it is, within 5 or 10 yards or 5 or 10 meters, not within 20 or 40, because that's a huge difference. And that cost us a giant mythical water buffalo. Because we ranged them at 60, so I thought, we ranged them probably 5 or 6 different times actually. And as soon as we took the shot, I stood up and I realized that the shot went right underneath the heart. And I was wondering how that could have happened, because we were holding for 60 on the spine. It should have been a perfect spine lung shot. But then I realized I ranged it and it said it was 95 yards out. So 95 to 60 is about 30 yards difference. There's a huge difference. And with that difference, you're never going to hit anything. Alright, so we're about as close as we can get. We're looking at about 65 yards out. Next, we're going to go out to a new location and try and set up a tent for the mule deer. Alright, so here we go. We're going along the edge of this coast here, and if you watch any of the streams, we ended up getting a pretty good 4 easy muley in the stream right up over here, and so I'm pretty sure it's a really good spot. Also, there was a puma chasing mule deer, and we're going to set up a tent right here, and this is where it all happens. I looked over here, and this is what happened. Now I know that the mule deer drinking zone is right there, and it's about 300 yards out, so it should be basically within view. I saw something moving over there. I pulled out the binocs and I looked, and I saw it was definitely a mule deer buck, but it wasn't that big. Now you're looking at 400 yards out, so you can see that you literally have about 40 or 50 yards before it disappears into space, basically. And I looked off over here, and I could see what looked like a bull reindeer running, and I got about maybe 5-10 second view of him, and after that he was gone. Luckily I managed to spot him and got a read on him. He was a 5 medium, and I knew he had potential to be a diamond. So the next thing to do is make sure we have our 420 grain arrows equipped, because we just got done hunting water buffalo, and we actually have the 600s equipped right now, which would be an absolute nightmare if we took a shot with that. So we need to figure out a way to get around this peninsula, use the wind in our favor, and hopefully the wind actually circles and blows back to the left side of him, so that way we can sneak around to the right side, get in this thick brush, and possibly try and call him in. And then this happens. Alright guys, so we're coming up over this ravine, and I can see his tracks right there. That's from the buck. He's got to be right here somewhere. Alright, so here's his tracks. Let's pick him up. 385 to 462 pounds. So he's actually not max weight, but he's definitely the big one, because he's the only buck that we spotted, and he's going to be right up here. Yup, right there. Oh my god, you guys, I think he's right on top of us. He's right on top of us. I think that's him. It's not him. Where the heck is he? Well, we just took a shot on him to see what our harvest value is like. We're at 100%. Now all we got to do is spot him. Alright, so I tracked that buck all the way to right here, and I had pretty fresh tracks. Until I got to right here, I had running tracks headed right that direction there, which would be to the northwest. And what I noticed was our tent is set up right there. Now, the drinking zone is right over there. So that buck had to have came back and backtracked right past us. So actually, if we were to stay to the tent, he probably would have crossed in sight, and we would have seen him cut across right here. But since we didn't, and we went back and we went after his track, we tracked him all the way to here, and he must have caught our scent from right about there, and he ran back this way. And these were all fresh tracks until I got a little bit further to right about, well, there's a little peninsula up here. Right here, there was one more set of tracks. Now these were trotting, headed right down into that thick woods there. Now there was also a puma right there as well. So I thought to myself, if there's a puma there, he's going to attack this mule deer if he's around. But the fact that he wasn't attacking the mule deer made me think, maybe these tracks are old. So anyways, I waited a little while, started calling like crazy, had a good wind. Nothing. No sign of him. Nothing. So I kept tracking him. And when I got down to right about here, right at this peninsula, there were some droppings from the mule deer. And the droppings actually said, very old. So it went from fresh, just now, running, to very old. And I was confused because it said very old. And if it said very old here, then maybe there's another fresh track somewhere nearby. So we kept on going and checked out this next track over here. And this track, it kept saying trotting. And then there was another dropping right here, and this dropping said very old. So I was so confused that how can all these say very old? Alright, so we have really fresh tracks from him headed right that direction there. I don't see him yet though. There's a puma down there as well. I don't like the looks of that. So I decided to turn back and try and figure out which way this buck actually went. And that's when I went back here and basically started doing circles around this point here, trying to figure out, okay, so if the buck didn't cut back this way, and if this was an old track, did he go up this hill? And I couldn't find any tracks up here. Not only that, I couldn't hardly walk up here, so it's really thick. And I mean, they could be up there, but you just don't know. So I was thinking maybe he cut back and went over to this drinking zone. So I went all the way over here, couldn't find any tracks. Found a bunch of mule deer but none of them were the ones that we wanted. None of them. So at this point, basically 2 hours real time went by, and I was starting to panic, thinking that we just lost the biggest mule deer I've ever seen. And that was our only chance at finding a diamond on this new map. That is, until I got a second thought. Maybe this buck backtracked. Maybe the tracks are actually wrong, and it says very old, but they're actually fresh. There was a chance I had to take. There was nothing else I could do at this point. Mind you, it was also about 12 o'clock at night, my time. So I didn't really have a lot of time left before I was planning on going to sleep. Obviously, I wasn't going to go to sleep till I found him, but there's a chance I went to found him, so you never know. You just don't know. And so I got back on the track and started tracking him again. Tracked him all the way back to where we are here again. And what happened is, I noticed here, there's a drinking zone. Now, I know it's quite a ways away from right here, but I kept getting trotting tracks. And every single time I found dropping, it kept saying very old, very old. Not just old, it said very old. But the fact and the reason why I kept tracking them is because it was trotting. Bucks only trot when they're sort of spooked, or they know something's not right. So either that puma that I saw was chasing him, or he was fleeing from us from tracking him. It was one or the other. Either way, I knew it had to be a fresh track. And we took the chance, tracked him down, and this is what happens. Alright guys, so after just a ton of tracking, and backtracking, and tracking again, we finally found him. And he's a giant. So what we're going to do, is we're going to try and call this buck in. And if he hesitates even a little bit too much, we're going to pull up the 270 and go for a perfect spine double lung shot. There he is. 109 yards away, and he looks like an elk. Look at the size of that buck. Alright, he's up, and he's moving. Here he comes. There he is, 94 yards out. An absolute giant mule deer buck. Holy, is that thing huge. Alright, so he's being pretty hesitant right there at about 70 yards out. We're not going to take any chances. We have a little buck right on top of us here. We're going to get ready and take a shot on him as soon as he stops. Maybe not. Yeah, that's it. It's now or never. And he's down. He's down. Giant buck is down. Holy, we've been tracking him a long time, and I really wanted to take him with a bow, but this little buck was coming in, and I said, if he's going to hesitate at all, we're taking the shot. And that's what happened. He was hesitating, and I'm not even going to hesitate anymore to take a look at this buck. And he's a diamond! Holy, is that thing huge! 533 score, total score of 984. Oh my god, that's a giant. We made a double lung spine shot, perfect shot on him. Couldn't have been happier with that shot. Holy, is that thing huge. Total score of 984. And man, was that one heck of a hunt. This is our first diamond off of this new map. But look at the rack on this thing. Just absolutely massive. So incredible. Oh my god. Like I said, when he jumped up, I thought he was a bull reindeer. I really did. I thought he was a bull reindeer. And there he is, an absolute giant mule deer, 984 score. Oh, I lost tracks of this thing almost 4 times. Finally, I figured out that he actually backtracked. Even though the tracks kept saying very old, I went with my instinct and I thought, you know, there's a drinking zone over here and these tracks might not be right. I'm just gonna track it anyways, and I did. And lo and behold, it brought us right to him. And we got him. And so, with that, I think that's going to be one heck of a good way to end this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time. let's go with that. And let's pick him up. Oh my god! A 210 scoring diamond whitetail buck. I can't believe he was that big.